Welcome back to my Battlemap tutorial series. Recently I got a request on how I do my gardens, so we will be discussing how I make my gardens real quickly. A few other topics of how to make a garden are sort of discussed in my other things. One specifically is the fence. We are not going to redo the fence, so I'm just going to create a new group, garden. And I'm just going to make a copy of that fence and drag that up into there. If you want to figure out how to make the fence, I have a tutorial already on that Battlemap tutorial wood fence under my channel. You can take a look at that, but right now we're just going to make a copy of that from there. The other thing you'll notice is I have a scarecrow in my garden. You can easily find that using art assets. Dungeony Scarecrow, and that'll bring up this guy and some other stuff. Mine's a little bit darker. I darkened him a little bit, just I didn't like the bright fluorescent colors. After you get that going, and you really don't need to do that first, that's just I wanted to sort of get that out of the way because we're not going to be dealing with that. You want to find some farmland textures, and I just go out to Google farmland textures and come up with a bunch of them. You can also create your own. Do I have any? Yeah, so here I created some. As you can see, it sort of looks a little bit too computerish, too made. You know, and this is just a darker one. Whereas this, obviously, that's much smaller, but it looks much more realistic, I think. And so I do that. So what you want to do is just go out and get some textures. And so again, all you do is just open up the textures. This is one here, or oops, this is the one here. Make a pattern out of it. There's tutorials on how to make patterns. I think I discussed in one of my early tutorials. And then all I did was just fill a large screen. I've got 17,000 by 17,000. I actually don't believe I need that size. So we're just going to drag this over here and put this in. We're actually going to put it below our fence. Come on. Or our fence above it. Obviously it's a bit too large, so we need to scale that out. Whoops. So we're just going to, obviously that's a very large texture, so let's just zoom out a little bit more. And I'm just going to scale that. I think I only needed about half the size. So again, right here, and we'll just we'll throw this guy down below the other guy, just so we can. Oops. See that? Yeah. So again, it probably could be a little bit smaller. Let's do it 90%. That looks about right. Okay. And I don't need the whole thing, so I'm just going to cut out, oops. I'm just going to cut out a small section of it about my farm area. And I'm just going to hide this other guy. Okay. And then, and you could even make it smaller, though I usually like to make it a little bit bigger than my fence, and I'm going to apply a layer mask to that, which will hide the outside. You'll also notice that it's a bit darker, or my original is a bit darker. You can just do business image in just the brightness, and then just make it, oops, on the wrong thing, that's why. Image, adjustments, brightness, and just decrease that and maybe increase that. And then I'm just going to go over back to the mask. Just apply a little bit of a brush to it. So again, my settings are, I usually like them, again, in the 20 to 30 range. That one's a little bit high, but I'm actually going to boost that back up there just so you can do it fairly quickly. And this is just to hide the edge. Now I could have made it a sharp, but again, if you make it a sharp one just by selecting, you get a sharp edge that you can see here, whereas here you sort of fade it into the grass around it. that. A lot of things I'll do is once I place it, I've got some taller grass that you can put around it. So what I'll do is I'll just add a layer mask to there and just go along the edge here to get, you know, like a little mixture where the dirt meets that, and it gives it a little bit more realistic. But that's more on your image once you lay the map down or put your farm down, not so much on creating a farm. So we're just going to go back here. So that gives us our basic farm layout. So that'd be good for a you know, spring farmer, you know, where nothing's grown yet. Next, we want to get some crops, and again, you can just go out to Google and farmland textures again. Sometimes I put crops in there. Here's a couple different crops, and I think I have aerial corn farmland because I was looking specifically for corn. So I download this one here. But again, different crops, you'll want different things. So we'll just open that up. Oh, I already have it opened. And then you'll just drag that over. Now, a lot of times you don't need to make a full texture out of this because it's already big enough. But again, depending on your size of the farm you may want a texture. I'm just going to scale that slightly down a little bit as well. Okay. And this is, you know, so do I want the whole thing as hay? You know, I may have to duplicate this or whatever, but I'm just going to do a section of it. So again, then I'm going to apply my layer mask. And again, I can quickly, rather than having to go over and over, I can just quickly apply, you know, a hard layer mask there, and then just go along the edges along here and just erase this extra stuff. You can sort of see it's starting to take some shape. Again, I don't like hard edges, so you know, just work your magic into there. And so also this is a little bit darker so I probably just in the past just went to darkness and just, oops, I'm on the wrong layer again, just decrease the darkness, you know, make it a little bit older crops again, increase the contrast a little bit. Now you have different types of growth vegetables as well. I was going to show how I did the pumpkins. As you can see, I've got lots of copies of pumpkins. So basically those, you know, this right here is just one row of pumpkins. And then I got another copy of pumpkins over here as well. But again, I've got tons of pumpkins, and you can just download those. But I couldn't find the images. I know I found them on the internet. I just looking for them for this video. So we're actually going to create just a strawberry bush. So again, just try and find a general bush like this. I think I've already, if you find it white, you can make it transparent. And I've got a tutorial on how to do that. So let's start with this guy. And then you just, first thing you want to do is make a copy of that. And this could be different types of bushes. You know, you don't have to do strawberry or whatever. So I'm just going to load some strawberries in here. And just open these guys up real quick. And take them over here. And then you obviously got to resize them. And I'm not too worried about that white right now. But I probably should clean it up. Let's just clean that up real quick. There we go. Just cut that out. There we go. But again, so we'll hide that right now. I just want to make these small strawberries. Whoops. And I'll do that with a couple different guys. Place them around. Here's another one. bush. And we're just gonna okay, and then I'll just make copies of these guys and just push them around. Whoops. So basically I have a strawberry plant. Whoops. Okay. Obviously you don't want your strawberries to look exactly like that. So that's what this other layer is for. So then what I do is I'll just highlight the strawberries to know basically where I am. I'll apply a layer mask to this guy. And, oops, did not want to do that. Undo. Apply a layer mask to this guy, and then I'll just take my brush tool and just sort of start, you know, peeling back parts of the strawberry. You don't want the whole strawberry. And the idea is to find out where, you know, sort of the strawberries are. And if you want to get real close, you can go in and just do this. You know, hey, this leaf is actually over this guy, so then I'll just put that there. And go like that. The details doesn't matter that much because this guy's going to be shrunken down. Whoops. He's going to be shrunken down quite a bit. You know, so at the scale, we're going to shrink him down. So you can actually go over here. Oops, let's close that guy. Nope. This guy. So these are my strawberry bushes here. And obviously, even at, you know, a regular percent, at 100%, you really can't see, you know, the lines. So you don't want to be too particular about that. You just want, you know, the reds mixed in there. So it's just a matter of finding them and, whoops, then revealing them and stuff like that. And so I'll do this for each one. Just get some strawberries in there. And you could do this with other types of fruits or vegetables and things like that. And then once you're done, just collapse it all. You know, I'd probably put a couple more in there. Drag that over to my garden. Okay, and probably create a new group. Let's put it obviously in my pumpkins. Oops, that was going down. Okay, so again, we'll put it here and we'll create that strawberries. Okay, and then just scale him down. And again, you're going to scale him down quite a bit. You can just duplicate him or make a couple different ones, angle them and stuff like that. It looks like I used a different bush over here. It's a little bit brighter green with the strawberries, but you can do that. And then you can do the similar for, you know, cabbages. Obviously, I got all these cabbages, lettuces, and stuff like that. And again, all you do is you just take them and just bring them into your farm. Oops. And then just resize them. And you can either create a separate texture for this. You may want to darken it up so it looks like I darkened my cabbages up a little bit. Just because, again, I want it, you know, like they're dirty. So again, that's all I did with all these. So I just made a bunch of rows. Once I made one row, or actually I made a partial row, I just copied it and pasted it and then just applied it. So you can see this guy here, if I remove this layer mask, I made a full set of cabbages, you know, so I could have a whole cabbage garden if I wanted to. And then you just hide the parts you don't want. And that's pretty much it, you know, for making the garden. Whoops. I just want to turn that guy, you know, for making the garden. And again, once you place or have your garden image, you can then just drag or hide that whole garden from back down to background. Hope this helps. Thanks. Bye.